Hello and welcome to another coding video. Today we will be making a rather easy code, which will be a clock, just like this one. Tells the time, the day, Friday, in this case, whatever day you are making this on. So let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import a module called tkinter. Oh, actually, the first thing we should do is name our file. So I'm going to name this clock.py. So now Sublime knows that I am doing Python because I got a .py. So now if I type import, it'll turn purple. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do what we were doing before and import a module called tkinter, which is a kind of building thing like Turtle in Pygame kind of thing. The popular kind of thing in that sense. So what we're going to do is from tkinter, so inside, so the code goes into the tkinter module, and from tkinter we're going to import star, which is kind of like everything but in a different manner. Then after that we're going to go into another module called time. Time is for time, and I used this in one of my earlier videos with the snake game. Time is not only for time but can also tell clock, which is why we're going to use it. So from time, import strftime. Now you might be confusing, what in the world is strftime? So strftime is just like this: string. So in a string format, that's why there's an F, format time. String format time. That's what that all abbreviates into. But we're going to call it strftime. 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 So after we imported those two modules, let's do our coding. So at the moment, of course, this does nothing, it just imports. So let's make a variable, root equals to tk, just like turtle equals t equals turtle in a turtle module. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to make my title of my game board. So root.title or tk.title, the clock by JediCubing. And you can do this to your name, like Bob or Jack, Angelina, whatever your name is. I'm going to continue with JediCubing. There we go. Now I am going to make a function. Okay, let's make a function that should tell the time. So define time. So let's time, because this is time. Okay, I'm saying time too much. This is a clock project, by the way, so I should say time a lot, I guess. Never mind. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to do something that I'll explain in just a little bit. Okay, string equals to strftime. That's where we imported this from before. String equals strftime. Okay, I'll explain this in just a bit. Okay. Okay, and I'll do this. And then I'll do a %p this falls on a %A. Okay, there we go. Now you might be confused of what all these modules are doing here. Modulo is what we call these in Python. Well, what this is this kind of is the days and stuff. So to explain this, I'm going to go to this website that I found, docs.python.org. The link will be in the description. And farther by the bottommost, you can also Control F this so you can find it. Is this ginormous chart. Now what this chart does is it will tell you the module you need and what it will do in an example. And I don't know what the notes does, but we don't really need that. So let's look at what I did. I did modulo B, modulo D. So let's find modulo B, capital B, here. Month as local's full name. So January, February, all the way through December. And in, I think this is like a language. I'm in the US, so I think the computer knows that. It'll be January, February, and December. But if you're from the US or something, I don't know how it figures that out. But January, February, that's what %capital B does. What percent lowercase b would do, the abbreviated. So Jan, Feb, Dec, not January, February, December. Not like that. So then what did I do? Then I did modulo D. Modulo D. Now modulo D does the day. So 01, 02, that's 31, depending on the month, which is also here. You can do this in any order, by the way. Then what I did is %Y, or modulo Y. What modulo Y does is it tells the year. So like in this case for me it's 2021. Maybe if you're watching this in the future it could be 2024. Or maybe, wait, you can't really watch it in the past, but if you somehow found a way to teleport into the past, then this could be also like 2013. So that's what modulo Y does. It tells the year, Y for year. Now, what this one does is it does like how you would write it with a date. So like /21, not 2021. So after that, I put a comma. And okay, I forgot to explain one thing. So what this will do is it would do modulo B, modulo D, and then add a comma. Okay, so what this does, and and that's what I'll explain next. Modulo I. Now, modulo I is the 12-hour clock. 12-hour clock. You might be wondering, why not modulo H for hour? Well, why that is no, because H was already taken for the 24-hour clock, like 2003, in this specific way. I'll show you how that works in just a bit later, by the end of this video. This will change depending on where you're from. Okay, now here we have modulo M, which I guess you can already understand that would probably mean minutes for M. 0, 1, 59, 60, stuff like that. And then we have modulo S. That's probably seconds. So second is a 0 padded decimal number. There you go. And then finally we have %. Oh wait, no, not finally. %P. Now what %P? Sorry, what did I do? There we go. %P does this. It will tell you the PM or AM. So where is %P? Yeah, locates local's equivalent of either AM or PM. AM or PM. So right now it's 5:07 PM. So it would write PM. If it was say 9 AM and you ran this code, then you would get a.m. Okay. Then we do this. We put a period in the string format and say this falls on a modulo A. Now what in the world does modulo A do? Capital A, by the way. Modulo A makes the full name of Sunday, Monday, Saturday, whatever. If you wanted abbreviated, you do a lowercase a. Sun, mon, sat, whatever. So that's what this does. It kind of is just makes the variable string hold this information of the day, kind of. So string is a very important variable here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do label.config, and I'll explain this too in just a bit. Config text equals string. So now what this does is it tells the window or root that the text that will be inside is string, or the variable string. Okay? So it will put the day in our window. So yay. Now that's what that does. It technically tells the window, put this information inside the window. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do label.after 1000 time. So now what this does is after 1000 milliseconds time. So that means like change, kind of. I don't exactly know what that means. Let's actually, I know what to do. What if you should do this daily if you don't understand someone's on YouTube's line of code. What if we just copy pasted that and put it on Google? Okay. Python after method and tkinter. Don't exactly know what that does. I'll probably put it in the description if I find out later, but that will be there. So 1000 comma time. I just know that this is 1000 milliseconds, and this is probably change for time, like update maybe. Label.after is like an update statement. Okay, so that's gonna be the end of that. That's gonna be the end of time. Dun dun dun. Now what we're going to do is we're going to define what label is, because we actually haven't defined what label is. But you might be wondering, wait, we're saying it before we establish it? That's not allowed. Well, we actually haven't called time. We haven't called time. So technically we are not saying this stuff yet. I'll explain in just a bit. If we said time here, then it wouldn't know what label means, because it's here, and that's not anything from that. So let's continue. We first have to make our variable label, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain it in a little bit. Label root font equals to Courier. Okay, I'll explain this in just a bit. Font size 45 shall do. Okay, there we go. Background equals black. This is kind of like a setup. So here we have a big thing. Now what in the world does this do? So what this does is it makes the label variable, have the information of all this, which I'm going to explain now. So label is a function in tkinter, which kind of is like a label, like it says. So now root is TK, so it's like what you put in turtle. You use turtle all the time. Root turtle equals turtle, stuff like that. So root font equals Courier 45. Now what does this mean? So I used this in my tic-tac-toe game that I haven't actually discussed yet, I think. But what this does is it makes the text font Courier. So if you like to be fun, then there's another thing you can do when you're sharing your code. You could do this. Because if tkinter doesn't know what the font is, it just sets it to a random font that actually looks pretty cool. It's like bubbly. It's a little thick and stuff. So you could like put your name in here, and then people could be like, "That's a real font, wow," or something like that. However, I like Courier, which is a very specific font. It's not anything. It is kind of thin, and kind of looks cool to me. Then, what is this 45? Yeah, let's forget about Courier stuff. What is the 45? The 45 is the font size, so how big it will be. You can change this according to your own manners, like if you want 50 or maybe 100, that will be how big the text is. Just anything kind of above 50, it kind of goes off the screen on my computer, so I decided to make it 45. Then we have background equals black. I guess you already know what that is. Background, make the background black. Here in this case, you can change it to whatever you like. And then the foreground equals cyan. What is foreground? Foreground is actually the text. In this case, it is the text of the color. I made my color cyan. You can make it another lighter color or the complete opposite of the background. Cyan has some color other than white, which I used to have. White is just kind of plain to me, and I decided to put a little bit of blue, so I decided to put cyan in there. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do label.pack anchor equals to center. Now what this does, it aligns the text. So if you wanted it to be in the northwestern kind of place, then you could do NW. If you wanted it to be in like southwestern, then SW. However, I like mine right in the center, so I choose center. So that's what that does. Now after we do all of that, let's call time. So now that we call time, let's kind of run this and see what happens. Label is not defined. Label is defined right here. Hold up. Something's fishy. Something isn't right. Ooh, I think I got it. So, it's not, be careful about your capitalizations. It's not lowercase label, it's uppercase label. So now let's run this. And as you can see, my thing says finished in 750 milliseconds. So what I forgot was I have to repeat this forever. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do main loop, and that is a function in tkinter that kind of just repeats all of this over and over and over again until we hit the X button. So now let's run this. So here we go. July 2nd. Let's confirm with our computer here. So it's July 2nd, correct? 2021, that's correct. 5:16, these kind of match. It's PM time. This falls on a Friday. It is a Friday. So what you could do, and once I press the X, of course this goes away. What you could do is you could research some more into it and look through this place, and this could give you a lot of stuff. Like you could have added this stuff that I didn't use, Like modulo x is really cool. It kind of just gives the date with the slashes, like how we used to on like writing our papers or stuff. However, I like this. Let me show you something. So if you're not used to this, and you're used to like this being 15 or something, I'm not used to that, so I didn't put it like that. However, you can change the I here to a capital H, and that will make it like probably how you're used to, 1717. However, if you're not used to that and you're used to like 515, 517, keep that as an I. And you can add more things to it to be more creative, but that is what this does. We just import tkinter, from time import strftime, which was very useful because that's what this all does. So as I said before, string is a very important variable because it holds the entire day. And we use it here, and that's kind of the only place. But we call time, so it kind of gets looped because of the main loop. So in the end, it all makes sense, I hope, and I hope you understand. All the code will be in the description if you keep getting errors and you don't know why. That will be it then. Thank you for watching, and see you again soon.